Welcome back, everyone. There are your officials tonight. Charles Green, Dwayne Smith, and Jim Harvey, all officials from the Big 8 Conference. Series history, we show the Jayhawks leading at 72-37. It's been a lot closer recently, the two teams splitting their last 10 meetings, and Colorado has done a lot better against Kansas right here in this particular building. Ready to jump center will be Randall and Dan Becker, and off the tip, Colorado controls.
Well, you're going to see both teams come out in the man-to-man defense. They all play primarily man-to-man. I don't suspect Colorado will change it tonight. This is Reggie Morton, number 15, a junior, against Kevin Pritchard, likewise a junior. In trouble, almost used the full 5 seconds. Good hands by Pritchard. Taken over now by Steve Wise, their top three-point shooter. Wise picked up by Scooter Berry. Down to Vandiver. He leads this club in 9 different categories. Outside Wise for 3, and that's an air ball, not even close. Mark Randall will pick it up. Up for Kevin Pritchard, leading the breaking Jayhawks to Berry. Outside of Freeman West. Milton Newton for 3, no good. He shoots that shot better than 50%. Wise coming back. We're scoreless. Not quite a minute gone into the opening half of play, and Randall has committed the first foul. Well, that's going to be a tough matchup for Kansas. Randall's got to stay out of foul trouble.
Number 42, Mark Randall, personal foul.
You see Randall getting stuck up on the high side. He tried to get over the front on Vandiver, but he wasn't able to. He got called on the foul. Randall from Englewood, Colorado, has an awful lot of relatives here, including both of his parents watching tonight. Kansas is trying to deny the inside pass all night long. The difference between them and Colorado is Colorado let him throw straight in. There you saw Randall, he was trying to deny the pass into the post, and he got called for the foul. And that's something they're going to have to watch all night. Pritchard will bring it back up for the Jayhawks. Still scoreless. 1 minute has gone by here in the opening half of play. Now it's Freeman West starting for Alvarado, who has a stress fracture. Newton, top of the key, and he hits it. Milton Newton gets the first couple of points. He has been averaging 17.8 points per game, and that's the kind of outside shooting that you were talking about earlier. Well, we said earlier Milton had to hit some good big shots from the outside. If he gets on track, you got to look out for him. And if he gets on track, Vandiver, watch out for him. He's averaging almost 20 a game. A 2-2 tie as Pritchard brings it up. West now to Berry. Randall trying to get free underneath against Robinson. Milton Newton, top of the key, gives it off to Pritchard. Scooter Berry on the drive in the lane, trying to lay it up, no good. Off a tip, no good. Rebound. Freeman West up strong to get the bucket. Well, there's Freeman West. He's been sixth in time played and in second in rebounds. He's a good player off the boards. He's got a nose for the ball. He's a good player off the bench, and tonight he's starting. We'll see how he does. Underneath, Vandiver got open, but before it, Scooter Berry got a piece of him. So Kansas has their second foul.
Fouls number 10, Scooter Berry.
Scooter Berry
number 1 for Berry.
Commits that foul. That's his first foul. Second team foul on the Jayhawks. Ball will be inbounded to Vandiver. Berry tried to draw an offensive foul. There's underneath Becker. I thought he walked, but they're going to call a foul. I thought he had walked before that. As we look at the coaches, Tom Miller already taking the sport jacket off.
This definitely isn't the way Coach Williams want the game to go so far. They've got 3 fouls called on so far early.
Okay, he doesn't look all that happy, and I'm sure that the fouls do have him concerned. Wise on the bounce pass in. Becker, jump shot is no good, and there's Freeman West.
Becker's usually been a pretty good shooter in the past couple of years. So far this year, though, he's been struggling from the field.
Berry on the left wing, down to Newton, lobs it. There's Randall open, and he just makes an easy layup. Mark Randall gets on the board. Randall had a long streak of double-figure scoring games snapped against Miami, and he's starting another one. A couple of games in a row. He scored in double figures in 14 to 15. They're going to count it, and Berry fouls Becker. So give Becker 2 and give Berry his second foul.
Kansas got some help side defense from Milton Newton. His man cut back door on him. Becker with big, strong hands took it up strong inside on Scooter, and Scooter didn't have anything left to do with fouling. Unfortunately for Kansas, he wasn't able to keep him from making the basket.
Well, free throw shooting there was not a plus, although he's been averaging better than 70% from the line. 6-4, Kansas leading at 17.5 to go. Jayhawks bringing it up. Left wing side. Randall now to Freeman West. Against Vandiver. And a whistle underneath. Mark Randall likes that call, trying to see who was guilty. I believe it was Brian Robinson.
Yeah, it was Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson's a big, strong player. He'll bang you inside. Last year they had a little altercation with Robinson and Newton, but he's a strong player, and he's going to push hard on Randall, and that's something Randall needs.
That's the first foul on Colorado, 4 on the Jayhawks. Underneath, there's Pritchard, and it didn't go for him. Pritchard didn't get it to go for him, and back the other way comes Wise. Nice setup.
Kansas used that play all year long, and it's amazing how many times they get a backdoor on teams. You know teams are scouting them, but they continue to get it game to game.
On the drive was Morton, and he drew a foul. And Kansas is in foul trouble very early, and now Maddox is coming in. What's going on? Why is Kansas getting called for all of these fouls?
Well, Kansas plays a trapping defense, pressure defense all over the floor. They're always gambling, trying to go for the steal. So far this year, the first 13 games Kansas played, they went to the line more often than their opponent. Last 4 games, the other team has gone to the line more than Kansas, and they've struggled in those games, and it's the same type of thing going on tonight.
Seem to have gotten into some foul trouble as well over those last 4 games. Remember one game against SMU where Newton was in some foul trouble? So was Randall.
Kansas wants to play an up-tempo game. That's the way they like to play. Their defense sparks the tempo, sparks their fast breaks, so they like to pressure all over the floor. Unfortunately, the last few games they've been getting out of position and getting fouls called on.
Pritchard tried to drive, it was slapped away, and a foul is going to be called on Steve Wise reaching in. It's a 6-6 tie with 16:53 left in the first half.
Well, you see Kevin driving to the basket. Players always try and slap from behind, and 99% of the time the refs are going to call a foul on that.
Berry to Freeman West, now to Maddox. Outside to Newton. Jumper for 3, and Milt Newton is strong there again. 5 points for Milt Newton. 9-6. Jayhawks with a lead. Morton on the dribble against Pritchard. Becker. Underneath. Vanderveer. No good. 2 Jayhawks fight for it. West wants that ball. Right side, Scooter Berry leads the break. Driving in the lane. Almost palmed it. The crowd thought he did. Newton looking for 3. Doesn't go. Power rebound, and there's Freeman West again. And he has 4 points and at least 2 rebounds early.
Well, Freeman's all over the board. Scooter got away with something right there, and they got Milt Newton another stand-up jumper. He just didn't hit that one down. Sean Vanderveer didn't block out on the offensive rebound, and Freeman West came up with it.
Geldner and Minor ready to come in as Vanderveer is solid on the drive. And he is only a sophomore. Pritchard the other way, an 11-8 3-point Jayhawks lead. Jayhawks in some foul trouble, though. They have 5 team fouls, 2 the other way. Underneath Maddox, out to Freeman West, fakes the jumper, drives in, gives it underneath Maddox, too deep. Great cut, Scooter Berry.
Well, Coach Williams is happy with that. That was great teamwork. Kansas made the extra pass and beat Colorado's defense.
Coming back, Dan Becker. And a ball that gets away from him. Maybe a little panic setting in there after that big Kansas bucket. And Roy Williams, who does this so well, goes right back to the bench. And here's Mark Randall, who will be coming back in after just a short breather, but enough to give him a little bit of a rest and get him right back in there. Right now, we have an official timeout on the floor. Jayhawks with a 5-point lead at 13-8 here in Boulder. Welcome back, everyone. It's a 13-8 Kansas Jayhawk lead. Randall is back in, so is Lincoln Minor and Jeff Geldner. There's a whistle underneath, and that's on Randall. So Mark Randall with 2 fouls on him, so he'll have to be a bit careful here, still in the first half of play. Shooting-wise, thus far in the opening half of play, Kansas has put up 10 shots compared to 6 for Colorado. And the Jayhawks are 6 for 10. Colorado are 3 for 6.
Well, Kansas likes to play a lot of possessions. They like to attack the basket. So far, they've gotten up 10 shots, and that's the type of game they like to play.
Vanderveer to the outside. And there's a bucket for Reggie Morton. Give him 5 points, and that'll cut the lead to a couple. Kevin Pritchard slows it down. Over to Randall. Mark Randall to Maddox, top of the key. Now to Kevin Pritchard, who needs 14 points to reach 1,000 with Kansas for his career. Underneath, Randall fights hard for the rebound. Aggressive play by Mark Randall despite those 2 fouls early in the game.
Rodell Guest is a big horse on the boards.
And the shot from the corner is good for Brian Robinson. So Brian Robinson has a couple of points. We are tied. Here's Pritchard, who is scoreless thus far in this one. Underneath, Randall put it up, but there was a whistle. Oh, travel. Travel on Mark Randall. What's going to happen here to the Jayhawks defensively if Randall gets into foul trouble, and he's almost there now with a couple?
Well, if the fouls keep going the way they are, Kansas is going to have to think about going to a zone. They don't have that many players on the bench, and with Sean Alvarado hurting with the stress fracture, they're going to be real thin.
Right side of the drive is Morton. Randall gave him a bump there, and he gets the ball off a deflection. Right side, Geldner on the break. Tied up game at 13 apiece. Pritchard faking. Randall underneath. Maddox turns off the glass and in. Good basket for Mike Maddox, former high school All-American in the state of Oklahoma.
Kansas is such a well-structured team. They got a fast break there. They go right into their play. Randall has a good pass inside to Maddox, and that's the way Kansas likes to play. Structured offense.
On the drive, they're going to give the foul underneath on number 12. Steve Wise. Well, that'll be his second foul as we take another crack at it.
Well, you see Lincoln get beat. Mark Randall playing good defense came up and took the charge against him. And that's what Kansas likes to do. They like to pressure the other team into making a mistake. Colorado's been pressured so far this year, and they haven't handled it well.
So that's gutsy, isn't it, on Randall's part with 2 fouls to take the charge?
That would have been a big call against Kansas if he would have picked up his third.
This could be a real big one, too, because when we're talking about Randall and the foul troubles, remember that Alvarado has that stress fracture, and if they can get away with not playing him, they'd probably like to do just that. Here's a nice cut underneath, and Geldner with a good move.
Well, there's that same back door again. Every time players want to get out, they see that steal, they want to jump out there and get it and get the glory, and they end up getting beat for the back door.
Wise with it. Good outside shooter. Wise in some trouble. Minor with some good defense. Now it's Rodell Guest who's on. Vandiver working against Randall. Nice move off the glass. 6 points for Vandiver.
He's a big, strong player. He was 6th man on the Hutchinson JUCO team last year, and he's got a nice right jump hook Danny Manning used well last year.
Colorado's got a great-looking player there. And when you think about that, he was not a starter on that team. But Tom Miller had scouted him before, he told us before the game, so he was well aware of his talents. Minor went up. They're going to count it. Minor. And the foul should be on Guest.
Well, Lincoln had a lot of problems last year. He's the type of player who likes to go one-on-one, take guys to the hole. That didn't really fit with Coach Brown's system last year. This year, he's been playing a lot more relaxed. He's been more selective in his drives. Right there, he made a great drive to the basket, got fouled and stuck it.
Brett Vaughn now out of the lineup as we look at Lincoln Minor, 6'3" senior, one of 4 seniors on this Jayhawks squad, trying to make it 3 points, and he does. Give Lincoln 3 on the night. Now working it, Jeff Penix, a senior from Las Vegas, driving on Lincoln Minor. A 20-15 lead. Jayhawks up by 5. To the outside, it's Brent Vaughn. On the drive, pulled up. Geldner on him tight. Nowhere to go. Out for the long jumper, and a good bucket for Brian Robinson. I thought that might have been out of his range.
Yeah, that did look like it was out of his range. Colorado likes to play an offense where they have 2 guards on the outside and 3 big men working inside. Kansas used that same offense last year, and basically it's a pretty good offense to run if you can run it correctly.
I think they detected Robinson pushing off with Randall underneath and away from the ball. Second personal on Brian Robinson.
Well, the way that Robinson plays, he's going to pick up a few fouls. He's a big physical player, and he doesn't come out and play a finesse game. His is a power game.
And if they can, might they try to intimidate Randall in a perhaps a bad foul?
Well, that's been the story on Mark Randall is, they've wondered about how strong he's going to be inside and how he's going to do on the road. If they could pick up his 3rd foul on Randall tonight, that put Colorado in good shape.
Scooter Berry. We look at the team fouls. Jayhawks with 6, Colorado 5, so 1 more for Kansas. Colorado will go in the bonus. Nice turnaround for Mark Randall. Give him 4 points. And on the far side, coming up are the Colorado Buffaloes. 5-game losing streak, but 2 of those games went into overtime, not sudden death, but overtime. Jeff Penix picked up by Minor. Jayhawks ready for full-scale substitutions as Geldner makes the steal. Lobs it ahead. Minor would bury the trailer. Minor pulls up on a short jumper. It's too short. Underneath Geldner. Good rebound. Couldn't get it in. A great couple of tips. No good. And there's Vandiver. And down the other way. Penix on the drive against Berry. Tried to lay it up. Berry did a good job defending and not fouling.
Well, that's not Colorado's style. Coach Miller doesn't want him to run. He was a little upset with him at K-State last week for running.
Minor's 3-pointer doesn't go, but we've got a whistle and a foul underneath. Foul is underneath, and let's see what the officials will do. They're going to allow the substitutions coming into the side. I believe they'll call an official's timeout. And that's what we'll have, and we'll sort it out for you when we come back. It's a 22-17 Kansas lead. Have a 5-point lead, and one of the reasons why has been the play of Mark Randall thus far.
Yeah, Mark's been doing a great job inside. He posts up strong, he catches the ball, and when he catches the ball, he's going to turn and shoot and score, and he's got a great soft touch, and when he can do that, he's going to be real effective. Coach Williams showed a lot of confidence in him and keeping him in the game with 2 fouls, because he can pick up that third at any time, but they're going to need him tonight, and Coach Williams has realized that.
Just got a quick look at the field goal percentages, and actually Kansas is number 1 in the Big 8 in terms of overall field goal percentage. Colorado is 8th. Becker. On that last break, I thought there was a foul call. That wasn't. The ball had gone apparently out of play, and that's all that it was. So we still have the 6 fouls on Kansas, 5 the other way. Randall, quick hands, getting in there, fights hard, wins it. To Barry. Scooter leading a 4-on-2 break. To the outside wing, there's Pritchard, no good. Rebound underneath and a foul underneath. And it looks like it's on Milt Newton. And if it is, that would be Milt's second personal foul. And it is.
That was a tough call against Milt. He went up for the rebound, and Colorado boxed out well. Fortunately, Milt got caught going over his back.
It's going to put him in the bonus, Chris.
Yeah.
Roy Williams looks on from the Jayhawks bench.
Number 14, Brian Lewis.
Scooter did a great job pulling up and throwing it outside to Kevin Pritchard for the jumper. Kansas likes to run. They'll take that shot. They like that shot. You see Milton Newton, he got early position, but Becker snuck in there and got Milton Newton on his back.
On Becker's last try, he missed everything. Let's see what he does here. Is that just a case of loss of concentration, nerves when you miss like that?
Well, a lot of times when you go up strong with the ball like he did, it's tough to get a good shot. When you dunk a ball hard, next time you shoot, you usually shoot long.
Pritchard now to Randall. Right side, Milt Newton. Now it's Scooter Berry. Oh, good one underneath, but West couldn't control it, but Randall can. How's that for making something out of nothing? It looks like they were going to lose the ball.
Well, Freeman West can't do anything wrong. He's got 4 rebounds so far this game. He's been playing great. Colorado got caught standing looking at the ball.
This is the biggest lead that the Jayhawks have had at 7, 24-17. 10-18 to go in the first half of play. Reminder coming up later on, in fact, during halftime, we'll have a pre-recorded interview with head coach Roy Williams, talk a little more specifically about this road trip. And I'm sure Roy would have loved to have won all 4 games, but barring that, a lot of coaches would be satisfied, if there's such a word in coaches' terms, with splitting on the road.
Yeah, he's got to be happy with 2-2, and 2 victories in the Big 8 on the road. That's a big plus, especially early in the season.
Wise will inbound. Bounces underneath. Good move, and Robinson will score it. He has 6 points. Kevin Pritchard coming back. 24-19. Freeman West. Good pump fake, and he puts it up strong. And Freeman West has 6 points and has been one of the best two-way players on the floor so far tonight.
Colorado hasn't done well getting back at all this year, especially their big men. They're not good in the transition game. That's basically why they try and walk the ball up the floor.
And they're going to call that one as an offensive foul on Reggie Morton. So a turnover here. 5-second violation, not a foul. 5 seconds on Morton. Pritchard calling the play as he brings it over the timeline. Finds Milt Newton. Newton actually has a better 3-point field goal percentage than a 2-point. Pritchard, nice drive. And Kevin Pritchard has 2. That means he needs 12 more to reach 1,000 points in the Jayhawk uniform, and he still has all of next year to put more points on the board. Robinson going up with a turn, no good, but there was a foul. And now West has committed that foul.
If you watch both teams play defense, you can see a big difference in philosophies. Colorado, they like to play a tight defense where everybody plays their own man tight. Kansas, they like to play off the ball. In Kansas so far this game, they've been called a lot of fouls on for helping out and getting out of position, and that'll happen to Kansas. But in the last play, you saw Kevin Pritchard drive to the hole, and nobody on Colorado's team came and helped.
Brian Robinson with 7 points here. He's been averaging 10. He now has 8. So a productive first half for Brian Robinson. Milt Newton in the corner to Kevin Pritchard. Underneath. The layup is good for Maddox. Good power move by Mike Maddox. Sophomore from Oklahoma City. Now it's Morton. Picked up by Pritchard. Roy Williams yelling about the 5-second count there. And Williams or Robinson making will get another basket. He's got 10.
We got to look out for Robinson. If he gets hot, he can really play and he can really fill it up. And so far, he's doing a great job. He's a big, strong player, and that kind of hurts Kansas. They're really not a big team. They're a finesse team.
Jayhawks with a 7-point lead. Maddox, 18-footer, doesn't get the roll. Vandiver gets the rebound to Morton. 8:48 to go in the first half of play from the CU Event Center. And a whistle. Foul trouble there. That's 3 on Milton Newton. And you know Roy Williams will go to the bench here.
Kansas is pressuring all over the floor. You can see everybody on him tight. Milt, he tried to come out too high on his man and got the foul called on him. A lot of times you get a touch foul called on you like that it really hurts, especially when it's your third foul, and Milt's not happy at all.
Jeff Geldner is into the game. He's been playing despite a left thigh bruise. Ryan Wallace will get it on the 1-on-1.
Traditionally, this game between Colorado and Kansas has always been a physical basketball game. I'm sure the referees know that, and they're trying to keep the game under control. They're going to call touch fouls and trying to keep the game tight. That way, both teams don't get out of control.
Wallace now has a couple of points, and he's cut the deficit down to 5. Geldner. He started towards the end of last season for the Jayhawks. Now to Pritchard. Mike Maddox. Randall outside. Now to Kevin Pritchard. Driving his minor. Pulls up. Nowhere to go. Outside to Pritchard for 3 points. Give it to him. Kevin Pritchard has 5 points on the night. A big three-pointer. 33-25. Lead is up to 8, and that is the biggest lead of the night.
Well, there's the difference between Lincoln Minor last year and Lincoln Minor this year. Last year, he would have tried to force that shot up. This year, he passed it off to Kevin and got a good shot.
Robinson's pass. Vandiver looking for it. They battle. Won by Robinson, and Rodell Guest helped him out. This is Robinson. Morton now finding his man in the corner. Randy Robinson. Intercepted. Pritchard on the drive. Morton will chase him. Pritchard on the easy layup. Quick hands for Kevin Pritchard. He has 7 points. He needed 14 for 1,000 points. He may get it in the first half.
Well, Kansas is going to double team on the first pass here tonight. To do that, they're going to go into a 3-2 zone. That's
where Kansas gets a lot of baskets. They force those turnovers. They've been forcing teams into 20-plus turnovers per game.
Well, you see Kansas switch defenses. They're going to a zone. All their guys out there are tired right now, and Coach Williams can't substitute like he wants to because of the foul problems they're having.
Morton against Pritchard to the outside. Shot clock down to 16. In trouble was Mollis. In the corner, they try to tie him up. Oh, wide open underneath it. Randy Robinson lost the ball. You know what? It looked too easy.
Yeah, it was too easy. Kansas was fortunate.
Jayhawks were lucky because Robinson was wide open underneath the bucket. 35-25, biggest lead of the night for Kansas.
Once again,
while we have this timeout on the court, we want to remind you that the announcers for this game have been contracted for and approved by Kansas University. Any use, rebroadcast, or the transmission of this game without the written consent of Kansas University and Creative Sports Marketing is prohibited. Randall will inbound it. It's a 10-point lead for Kansas, the biggest lead of the night. Gives it to Pritchard. 7 points in the night for Pritchard thus far. Randall has 6. West has 6 for the Jayhawks. Brian Robinson 10 to lead Colorado. Slap that Morton. Good steal. Lead pass on the break. Layup from Mollis, and they'll count it. Count it and a foul. Brian Mollis has 4 points, and he may get 5.
Mollis got the steal, got out on the fast break. Lincoln tried to go up and block the shot. Unfortunately, when you go up and foul on a fast break, you want to make sure that they don't score the basket.
Brian Mollis shooting 1.
Mollis will have 1 shot here, and he makes it a 3-pointer. So that'll cut the lead down. He has 5 points. It's a 35-28 game. Kansas with the lead. Pritchard, jumper. Make it count. Kevin Pritchard. Kevin Pritchard now with 9 points to lead the Jayhawks in scoring. Right side, Morton. Picked up by Pritchard. Underneath, they wanted Vandiver. Maddox and he tied each other up, and Maddox will have that call go against him. So in the bonus situation again is Colorado.
The defensive player, they can't stand getting that call foul on him. Mike's doing a good job. He's trying to deny him the ball, but Vandiver, he was smart. He pushed him out on the floor. Anytime you get the man You get the defensive man between you and the ball. You want to ride him out on the floor and either get the lob pass or get a foul called on the defensive man, and like it happened right there.
77% free throw shooter. It'll drop a little bit, but they get the rebound. Randy Robinson down to Morton. Outside, Randy Robinson down low, broken up. Minor. Left wing side. Geldner's pass finds Pritchard for three. No good. Underneath, Vandiver with a big rebound. Up court now to Morton. A 37-28, 9-point Jayhawk lead. Molas underneath. Robinson pulls up for the jumper and hits it. He's hot. 12 points.
That's the second time he's done that same move. He's taken one step to the basket, and backed up and shot the jumper.
Well, Kansas giving up the ball that time on that pass off Geldner on the last touch, and now some changes. West is in. Scooter Berry comes in. Maddox goes out. Pritchard goes out. We look at the Jayhawks bench. Tough here for Roy Williams to know that Milt Newton, we talked about the inside-outside connection. Well, the outside connection has 3 fouls on it.
Yeah, that's hurting Kansas right off the bat. Lincoln's going to have to come in and play a good, solid game along with Jeff Geldner.
Guess the other way. You would think that if Roy Williams can, he'll just keep him out the rest of this first half and then hope that he doesn't get a quick one at the start of the second half.
Yeah, you won't see Milt Newton in the first half anymore. He's got to keep him out, give him a chance to play in the second half.
Molas passing to Robinson. A 37-30 lead. Stolen. Freeman West got a quick deflection. 3-on-1. Minor to Freeman West. And a whistle before it. And they're going to call Minor. Minor in the offensive foul as he was driving against Morton. So Minor has a couple of fouls.
Well, Lincoln's leading the break down the middle. Morton did a good job of stopping and taking the charge. He knew he was beat for the backdoor layup, so all he did was stop and hope Lincoln would run over him, and Lincoln did.
A 7-point lead. We look at Tom Miller, who formerly coached at Cornell, and in fact didn't realize this until I read all of the press notes and press guides that he played at Army under Bobby Knight and then ended up being a Bobby Knight assistant coach at one time.
Well, they do a lot of the same principles that Bobby Knight teaches. They like to have a control game, and they like to play a good, solid defense, and that's basically what Bobby Knight.
Roy Williams has one eye on his bench and one eye at the free throw shooter. Morton will try to get 2 of them, and he does. And the lead has been cut to 5, and Scooter Berry has it.
Coach Williams isn't happy with that kind of call. Usually you don't want to call an offensive charge on a guy who doesn't have the ball, and Lincoln didn't have the ball that time.
And especially on the 3-on-1, Vandiver fouls there, and that's called, as analysts like to say, getting your money's worth.
The Scooter did a good job beating the pressure. Mark Randall held Vandiver out for a while, gave him a lane, and then Vandiver had nothing left to do except come in and hammer Scooter. And that was a good point in case that Vandiver didn't let him get a shot up, and he can't go to the line for 3.
Well, that should be the 6th foul.
Technical foul, number 15, Reggie Morton.
Technical foul as well on Reggie Morton. So that's going to give Kansas a free throw. And let's see, because there was already a foul anyway on him going in, which should have been a couple of shots. Scooter Berry with a chance to add to the lead. Makes it count. That's only his 3rd point of the night. He's been averaging 7+ points per game.
Scooter struggled on the road the last 4 games. Offensively, he hasn't been a big point producer for Kansas, but the last few games he hasn't been shooting well at all from the field.
I'm getting a little bit confused with this here now, and so is Roy Williams on the bench. He was going to get a 2-shot foul, and they should also get a technical foul shot. And I thought that's what they just announced initially, was that it was a 2-shot foul. So now they're talking it over. Can you ever get 2 coaches to agree, Chris?
Never.
When they're on opposing teams?
Well, Scooter, he got the 2 shots for the shot for the foul, and here he's going to shoot his technical shot. I think the refs got confused, didn't know if he shot the technical first or his points for the penalty.
Well, Berry gets it. You saw that was only the 2nd technical foul this season. They also get the ball here. Lincoln Minor. Now to Freeman West, to Randall. Nice cut underneath, and some good quick hands by Penix, but they're going to give Kansas the ball. I thought Berry was free on that cut, but some quick hands.
Yeah, he was. Kansas runs that play great. They get that every game. That was the 3rd time tonight that they've gotten that.
7-point Jayhawk lead with 5:08 to play. First half, 39-32. Lincoln Minor. faking on Wise. Outside for Randall. He goes up for the jumper and he hits it. Oh. Is he going to be Mr. Outside too, with Newton sitting on the bench?
Well, you don't usually see Mark Randall take a shot outside of 10 feet, but he felt it right there. He saw he was open, and he took it. Mark's playing inspired tonight. He's got his family here seeing him, a lot of friends from Denver.
He hasn't taken a three-point shot yet, but, you know, a couple more steps back, and he might have been there. Foul underneath on Robinson, and that is his third. And should put Kansas in a bonus situation in the 1-1.
Well, Lincoln's been good pressure on the ball. Lincoln's got such quick hands. He likes to think sometimes that he's Mookie Blaylock, but he can really steal the ball, and he's a good, quick player.
Brian Robinson with his third personal, and that'll slow him down. He's gotten 12 points, and he's been the star of the show so far for Colorado.
Yeah, he's got to come out. Rodell Guest, he's a big, strong rebounder, but he's not quite as good an offensive player as Robinson is, and Robinson's been playing great for them tonight. And he usually does play good against Kansas for some reason.
Robinson is a senior, Guest a sophomore from Dayton. Here's Lincoln Miner's free throw, and it counts. He'll get another one. Lincoln Miner with 4 points, a 10-point lead for the second time. See Tom Miller there. To his right was Bobby Wilkerson, a former NBA player who's now an assistant coach. Miner gets his second one. Second free throw for Lincoln Miner. He has 5 points. He is replaced by Kevin Pritchard. Miner did his job. He picked up some points. A nice steal.
Yeah, he did. You rarely see a Kansas player come out after he makes a mistake. Coach Williams will leave him in, let him do something good, keep his confidence.
Confidence is a key word. He certainly helped Mark Randall with a confidence game and others as well. Wise. That's a two-pointer. That's no good. Molas the rebound. Spreading it out to Penix. They get a new shot clock to work with. Freeman West after Pritchard on the double team on the trap. Now Wise going baseline. Off the rim. Rebound. Freeman West again. Unofficially, I've got him with 4 rebounds. Right side, Scudabary on the break. An 11-point Jayhawk lead. Randall was open underneath. He just spots him, and an easy layup for Mark Randall. Give him 10 points, so he's in double figures again. 15 times in the last 16 games he's done that. Only the Miami game did he not score in double figures.
Well, this is great from Mark Randall. He got a good start against Oklahoma, had 15 points, but didn't score in the second half. Hopefully he'll be able to keep it going in the second half tonight.
Kansas will get the ball on the turnover. And there'll be a timeout on the floor. And the Jayhawks right now are looking good. The biggest lead of the night for either side. A 45-32 Jayhawk lead. We'll be back. Members of the Spirit Squad certainly look happier, don't they? Why not? The Jayhawks have a 13-point lead, and one of the reasons is Mark Randall 5 for 5 from the floor. And this is from a big man who has been shooting better than 65% all season.
Yeah, he shot well all year long. Mark likes to get the ball inside 4 or 5 feet, stick a nice soft jumper off the glass and score, and he does that well.
Look at those points off the turnovers that just flashed. 13-4 in favor of Kansas. That's a big edge. Freeman West in trouble, finds Geldner. Scudabary. A 13-point lead. Kevin Pritchard, who has 9 points, got it back off the deflection to Geldner. Randall underneath, turns. You can see the confidence there, but he missed the shot. He wanted to go up strong with that one. And now it's taken back the other way by Brian Molas.
Well, we jinxed him. We told him he was 5 for 5, and he missed.
Well, now he's 5 for 6, so we'll have to correct our math. Morton, lobbing. Pritchard, look at the hands underneath, but he stepped on the line. But tell you what, look at the hustle. And Roy Williams, the assistant coaches, they're up applauding, even though they don't get the ball.
Yeah, they're all happy about that. Kevin was at the top of the lane, saw the lob pass, and hustled down to help out and get the steal. Unfortunately, he was out of bounds.
Well, I like that kind of coaching. They're not upset that they lost the ball. They're happy with that effort.
Well, you'll see them applaud players all game long. Their biggest thing is confidence. They want their team to have confidence. Very rarely we see them yelling.
Molas for 3. That doesn't work. And up strong. No foul at all. I thought they might have called a foul. They're going to say instead it went off Rodell Guest. That was as physical a play as you'll see without a foul being called.
Well, Jeff Geldner was very lucky there. He went up and he knew he was beat, so all he did was push. Rodell Guest went over his back, grabbed the ball. He's a big, strong player. He brought it down, and Mark Randall was right there.
But they got to reverse that call and give it the other way. Colorado inbounding. Molas underneath. Vandiver off the glass, no good. Bodies crash underneath. And there's Freeman West again with a rebound. And whenever that ball comes off the boards or the glass, Freeman West is close by. Here's Morton. Berry with a nice job to get in his way, and now it's deflected out of play by Gelner. Colorado will have the ball, but Berry, I thought, did an excellent job that time in slowing down any attempt at a fast break that Colorado might have had.
Yeah, he did. He got up high. Usually you don't want your player to come up high and stop the break, but he did a good job there and not letting them get by him.
Penix with the ball, a 45-32 lead for the Jayhawks. Again, it's 13 points. Jayhawks trying to rebound from Wednesday's big loss to Oklahoma, in which Oklahoma scored more points, 123, than the Jayhawks had ever given up in their history. In the corner, Vanderbilt. Shot clock down to 16.
Kansas is playing what they call a point zone. It's a 1-3-1, a man on the ball, a diamond behind him.
And there's Vanderbilt with a nice outside touch for a big man. He has 8 points. 45-34, an 11-point lead. We're less than 2 minutes away from halftime. Kevin Pritchard against Penix. Penix almost knocked it away. Now it's Mark Randall. Freeman West. Pritchard tried his cut, but he was picked up by Penix. To the outside, it's Randall. Fake to go to Berry down low. Outside, Pritchard. They'll start over from just about that half-court line. Berry. Gelner. Everybody getting a touch. They're working around well. Berry fakes. Now to Randall. Shot clock reads 13. West to Berry. Scooter driving in, pumps once, underneath West, turns around, 5 seconds left, and he makes it count with 5 seconds left on the shot clock.
What a great series for Kansas. They didn't get a quick shot like they normally did, so they worked their offense, they were patient, got a good high percentage jumper, and they put it down.
That was about a dozen touches in terms of the passes. Morton, and all crisp, all moving the ball well, good cuts, good motion by the Jayhawks. Now it's Penix against Scooter Berry. Outside to Molas. Colorado using the clock a bit here now. Down to 20. Morton trying to drive in. Drove into traffic. A pass by Gelner. There's Pritchard for the almost a jam. How about a half jam, half layup, I guess, down the middle.
Half jam. Altitude took his legs from him.
11 points for Pritchard. 3 more. And he'll hit that charmed 1,000 circle. Right side for Morton. Molas, top of the key. Down to 29 seconds left in the half. Jumper and a shot is short. Randall has it. Roy Williams wants him to hold for 1 play. Down to 20 seconds. They have a 15-point lead, biggest lead of the night. Pritchard knows what the clock says. Down to 12 to Randall. They want the 1 shot. Maybe go up by as many as 17 if they make it count. Gelner. Fake the jumper, now goes up, misses. Vanderbilt the rebound, 2 seconds, 1. They want him to throw it up. He does, but time had expired as the shot was short anyway. So at the end of the first half of play, the Kansas Jayhawks have to be very happy with a 15-point lead, but concerned, I would think, Chris, about the foul trouble.
Yeah, the foul trouble is the only thing that could really put them in jeopardy. Right now they got a 15-point lead, but here at Colorado, anything can happen in the second half.
Well, Kevin Pritchard, the high score for the Jayhawks with 11 as we watch Roy Williams and the Jayhawks make their exit. Mark Randall also has 10 points, and there's a young Jayhawk fan that's pretty happy with this lead. 49-34 the Jayhawks. We're at the half. Here we are at halftime with a 49-34 Kansas Jayhawks lead against the Colorado Buffaloes here in Boulder, Colorado. And the Jayhawks are looking good. There's a happy man, I would think. Rick Berry, a Hall of Famer, watching his son Scooter Berry in action tonight. And he sees the Jayhawks with a 15-point lead.
Yeah, he's got to be happy. Scooter's had a pretty decent game tonight. Rick, he's showed up for a lot of games this year, and he's been providing Scooter with a lot of support and helped him out, coaching him on the floor, too. Let's
take a look at some of the big guns. First of all, for Kansas, Kevin Pritchard with 11 points on the night. Mark Randall has 10. The inside-outside game, Milt Newton, because he got into foul trouble, couldn't contribute as much. We may see more of him, hopefully, in the second half, but it appears as if Pritchard took up the slack, especially with a key three-pointer in the end.
Well, we forgot to mention Kevin. He can really fill it up from the outside. Unfortunately for Kansas, Milt got in foul trouble early, but Kevin came in and picked up the slack, and that's what they needed.
Now, it's a big lead for Kansas, but teams have lost bigger leads than this, and I know Roy Williams is going to be cautious. We've got, if you look down at the statistics, Milt Newton has 3 fouls. He's in some trouble. Scooter Berry with 2, so the next one, he'll be in trouble, and Mark Randall with 2, and those are all key players for the Jayhawks.
Well, it was really lucky for Kansas that Mark Randall was able to stay out of foul trouble. He got 2 early, and he didn't pick up a 3rd one, and he played the rest of the half, so that really went well for Coach Williams. The gamble of leaving it in paid off for him.
And again, Freeman West having a very strong game. We'll give you some of his official stats later. But for Freeman West, he does have 8 points for sure, but several rebounds and some big rebounds. And if you remember his points, they came off the offensive boards. A couple of big baskets for Freeman West when they needed him.
Well, yeah, he's got 6 rebounds already, and he's played great. You know, the Kansas was concerned without Sean being in the game, the height differential with Vandiver inside, but Freeman's really picked up the slack well for him.
On the opposite side, it's Brian Robinson with 12 points to lead the Buffaloes. A lot more coming your way here at halftime, including a chat with the head coach of the Jayhawks, Roy Williams, but at the half, it's a 15-point Jayhawk lead. Back at halftime, the Jayhawks with a 49-34 lead, doing a great job on the road tonight. And as we mentioned, they've been on the road a bit, 4 consecutive games. We talked prior to this game with Roy Williams about what it was like being on this road trip. Coach, it's the end of a road trip tonight. This will be game 4 for you. What were some of the high spots, some of the low spots for you?
Well, the low spot was at Miami and at Oklahoma, and the high spot was at Kansas State, JP. It's we played, well enough to win at Kansas State, did not play as well as we wanted to the other 2 places, and today's game's important. You've got to be able to get some wins on the road in the Big 8.
It was a good test for you going away for 4 games and against some tough competition, especially Oklahoma. But what were some of the little things that you picked up? Did you learn more about individual players perhaps, or find out that you were stronger or weaker in some areas?
Well, I think personally that we might have slipped a little bit during this time period because of the travel and your legs getting tired and this kind of thing. So, we've tried to concentrate and go back to the fundamentals a little bit, but we'll also be happy to get back to Allen Fieldhouse too.
How about some of the individuals that seem to do well? A player like a Freeman West, I mean, he's tied for 5th in minutes played, your second leading rebounder. How is he able to come off the bench at a moment's notice, go out there and get his 5 or 6 rebounds? What do you tell him?
I just tell him to go out there and play very well. I think Freeman is the type of young man that is effective coming off the bench or starting the game. He comes in and can give us some lift, and he's been doing that all season, not just during this road trip. Milt Newton's been giving us some good play, made a couple of big free throws at K-State, and Kevin Pritchard, Mark Randall. I mean, our whole club, we're doing it as a team, and I'm hoping we're going to do it all year long like that.
You mentioned it'd be nice to go back home, and guess who you're going to play? You're going to play Wichita State and your buddy Eddie Fogler. You and he were assistants under Dean Smith at North Carolina. What will that be like for you going up against another great assistant who's doing a fine job as a head coach?
Well, Eddie's one of the best friends I've got in the whole world, and it's been very important to me as a person and as a coach. And so that's not going to be easy. I'm not going to look forward to it. But right now, I'm going to be concerned about seeing what we can do against Colorado tonight.
That was Roy Williams in an interview taped prior to the start of tonight's game. And some happy Kansas fans who have made the long trip here to Boulder, Colorado. A great day here in Boulder, Colorado. And right now, it's been a great night in terms of the Kansas Jayhawks because they have the lead, a 49-34 lead, the biggest lead of the night for the Jayhawks, a 15-pointer. We'll be back with highlights and more after this. There's your score at halftime. The Kansas Jayhawks with an inspiring performance. They lead it 49-34 against the Colorado team that has been led by Brian Robinson with 12 points. And as we told you before, the high scores, Kevin Pritchard has 11 points. A lot of that, or most of it, coming from the outside, although he did have a couple of layups, and 10 points for Mark Randall. Right now, let's take a look at some of the highlights from the opening half of play, and it's all Jayhawks.
Well, here you're going to get a chance to see Kansas running its secondary break. They bring the ball, they swing it up to the top. Maddox is going to flash underneath. Rodell Guest got beat, didn't make it across. Next time, Kevin Pritchard brings the ball down, makes a great pass inside to Freeman. Colorado wasn't able to get back. They've had trouble getting back on defense all year long, especially their big players. Kansas will take advantage of it and run straight through.
So that's some of the first half highlights that you saw. We've got some more coming up, and we're going to show you some of the other important plays of the first half of play, and Mark Randall may feature in one of these. Here he is.
Well, here's Mark Randall. He's feeling good tonight. He was 4 for 4 at the time, shot a jumper off the glass. Kansas works on that shot in their shoot-around this morning, and Mark knows he can shoot the outside shot. You see Lincoln, he was trying to make a backdoor pass. One of the Colorado guards came in and stole the ball from him. This is the only time that you'll see Colorado run, is when they get a steal and a sure layup. Unfortunately for Kansas, they weren't able to keep him from scoring the bucket.
When they made that bucket count, they have not made too many more count. They only have 34 points in the first half of play, and it's the Kansas Jayhawks with that 15-point lead with 49. 49-34 here in Boulder. University of Kansas basketball is brought to you by Coors Light. There's no slowing down with the silver bullet. It's the right beer now. By Braniff Airlines. You can believe in Braniff with service coast to coast. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Allstate. Leave it in the good hands, people, to insure your home, your car, your business, or your family. Here at halftime in Boulder, Colorado, the Kansas Jayhawks are leading the Colorado Buffaloes by the score of 49-34, and a lot of important statistics in the opening half of play. We saw one graphic at one point that said that there were 13 points to 4 for Kansas in the fast break turnovers, and I think that's part of the margin here that Kansas has in terms of the 15-point lead. Yeah, their defense creates a lot of points for them. So far, they've been able to make the ball turn over and get some points against it. Look at the field goals, 64% for the Jayhawks, and Colorado at 55. And how about Colorado shooting 55 and losing by 15? And on the opposite side in the three-pointers, Jayhawks a little bit below their average at the three-point range, and so too is Colorado. Kevin Pritchard with the ball, second half beginning. Pritchard at 11 points. He is 3 away from 1,000 in a Jayhawk uniform. Scooter Barry with it. We'll watch that foul trouble for you for the Jayhawks. That could be a key. Here's Milt Newton with 3 fouls and a bucket. So Mr. Outside comes through there, and for Newton, give him 7 points on the night. Kansas does such a great job of setting picks and getting Milt open. If you watch closely there, you saw Milt had a chance to get set up, and once he gets set, get his feet set, he's going to bury the shot. I watched him in practice today in the shoot-around. He had that shot going to perfection, and he has a lot of confidence in it. Molis a try, no good, but a nice tip-in by Brent Vaughn. He has a couple of points on the night. Barry with it, a 51-36 lead. If you were with us at halftime, you may have noticed Rick Barry among those in attendance tonight. On the right side, long pass, Morton finding Robinson on the drive. He has 3 fouls, but he makes the power move. He has 14 points, and one would think that they're going to try to work Robinson and Vandiver as often as they can. Well, yeah, they got to get the ball inside to Robinson and Vandiver. Right there, you saw Colorado getting a chance to score on a fast break. It's something they don't do very often, and the coach doesn't like them to do it, but they've been successful doing it at times this year. Robin's still puffing away. He's winded. West to Pritchard. Kevin Pritchard holding it outside to Freeman West. There's Milt Newton, almost lost it. Good quick hands by Vaughn, he almost stole it. Randall to Scooter Barry, shot clock showing 15. Pritchard, the jumper is short, rebounded underneath, and a foul. And Mark Randall will have 3. So, that could be a critical foul. Yeah, that hurts. The next few minutes are very telling for Kansas. They got to keep Mark out of foul trouble. Kevin pulls up for a good outside three-pointer. He caught the ball. He knew he was going to shoot. Mark just got caught in off position. Vandiver with it. Throws it across to Vaughn. Underneath Vandiver. And he lost it. It goes back the other way. Let's go back to that foul a little bit. On the foul by Mark Randall, you know he's still going to be aggressive. He can't lay back, but is that a good foul? Is that a bad foul in terms of what he had on him? You rarely see a coach get mad at a player for an offensive foul or going for a foul on a rebound. You know, that's just a good aggressive play. He can't play timid. He's got to keep attacking. Milt Newton takes a jumper. That's a bit short. Rebounded by the big man, Brian Robinson. And as you said earlier, Chris, he always seems to play well against Kansas. This game certainly in that category. Morton's shot no good. And in the battle for it, it will go to Kansas. And Kansas wants to make some changes. I would think that they may be taking Randall out. Minor and Geldner are coming in. Nope, it's going to be Pritchard and Newton going out. So they'll roll the dice a little bit as we look at Roy Williams and we look at previous play. You see a great pass inside, but what you didn't get to see right there was Brent Vaughn sent a good high pick, a back pick on the Kansas defender, and knocked him off and gave him the good penetration, get the layup. Jayhawks move it around, down low, Freeman West turnaround, no good. Rebound underneath, Geldner almost got it. And the referees look at one another, and they'll give it to Kansas. Tom Miller not happy with that. It could have been a big rebound the other way. Well, I don't think Tom Miller was too happy with some of his players. He came out with a different lineup. He started Molis and Vaughn instead of, I think, Morton and Wise. Yeah. Randall went up for it, but there was a whistle before it. 3-second violation. first time I've seen a 3-second violation call this season. Ball will be inbounded the other way by Colorado as you look at the leading scores. 11 for Pritchard, 10 for Randall, and 8 for Freeman West, but those rebounds really count for him. He's got 6 in the first half. Brian Robinson had 12 points, 8 for Vandiver, 7 for Morton. Pretty tame game thus far as we see the three-pointer for Robinson. I was going to say pretty tame game thus far for Vandiver. It's been more Robinson as the dominating player.
Yeah, he's been playing great. He just seems to find a way to play good against Kansas.
Foul on Vaughn. That'll be his first as he fouled Mark Randall.
You know, the mark of a good team is when they go to the player that's doing well. Mark Randall's having an outstanding game for Kansas, and Kansas keeps going at him. You always want to go at a player who's hot. The teams that you see that don't succeed very well, they go all over the place, and if a player gets hot, a lot of them don't like to give him the ball. Kansas is a good team. They're unselfish, and they spread the ball all around the floor.
Randall wanted a foul in the act of shooting. They're going to give it to him underneath the basket. There's Mark from Barry. Power move off the glass and in. And a foul on Colorado. Well, Randall was not going to be denied on that move.
No, he wasn't. That's a move that Mark Randall needs to work on and needs to do more often. One power dribble. He's such a big guy at 225 and so strong. He can take it up there and get fouled and make the bucket.
Morton has a couple of fouls. Mark Randall at the free throw line. Chose Kansas over Colorado, Duke, and Arizona. Makes it a three-point play. 13 points for the big man.
At the outset of the game, we talked about the inside-outside combination of Colorado. So far, they've got Vandiver playing, but Steve Weiss has 0 points for the game.
Well, that's an easy inside move for Vandiver. Give him 10 points. Colorado, I think, needs to have Vandiver heat up, and they haven't really been using him as much in the offense, and maybe that's partially because of Robinson. And a tough foul there on Vandiver. No chance for Randall that time, and that's Vandiver's second foul.
Kansas in their secondary break again. They get a back pick from Lincoln Minor. Mark Randall cuts to the basket. Jeff Gelner made a good pass to him. Vandiver didn't have anything left to do but foul.
Second personal on Vandiver.
Kansas gets so many points off their secondary break. What they do is they come down and they just run a play right out of the fast break. They're all in different lanes around the floor. And it's something that Coach Brown ran when he was here. It's a North Carolina thing, so all the players are used to it. And they really get a lot of transition buckets out of it.
Well, Roy Williams again has gone to his bench, so let's set it up for you. Randall at the free throw line. He's the big man out there. Maddox and Gelner join him up front. Minor and Berry are at the back, and you don't see Randall miss 2 free throws very often. He comes in at almost 68% from the free throw line. 54-43, 11-point lead. Jam time? No. And a collision there. Robinson plowed over Gelner, but Gelner takes the foul, and that sort of adds insult to injury when you take the hit that way, plus the foul.
Well, Jeff Gelner, he got back picked. He wasn't able to get over to Robinson. Robinson taking it strong to the hole. With Robinson cutting to the basket as strong as he was, Jeff Gelner got outside the lane, and he pretty much blocked Robinson from getting all the way to the bucket. He not only did he have to jump up high enough to dunk the ball, but he had to jump over Jeff Gelner. So Jeff pretty much blocked the path for Robinson to get in, make 2, and get fouled and go for 3.
Look at the size of Robinson, though. He is 6'5", 225. He's very solid. I'm sure Gelner will feel the effects of that hit long after this one's over. Robinson, 19 points, leads all scorers as he converts a couple of free throws. They cut the lead down. Here's a lead pass and the steal. Moles lays it up. So 4 big points, and the lead is down to 7. That's the lowest it's been since early in the first half.
Well, Kansas is going to have to show some poise. Scooter Berry, he's a senior. He's a captain out here. He needs to lead this team, help them stay in the game. They just got to play their game right now.
Underneath Maddox, he makes it count. Good bucket for Mike Maddox.
That was such a big bucket to quiet this crowd. The crowd was just starting to get back into the game, and Kansas did a good job of getting a nice, easy layup.
56-47, Maddox with a tip. Will make it Gelder with a tip to Berry. Lincoln Minor. And talk about 4 big points one way. How about 4 this way?
Jeff Gelner, he is such an unsung player. He doesn't have the greatest talent in the world, but he does the little things that make coaches happy. He gets the steals, he blocks out, plays good pressure defense.
Got a foul on Lincoln Minor, and that should be 3 on Minor. Got a host of players getting in a foul trouble. When you talk about Gelner as a freshman, he was billed as a sleeper of that class. He started 16 of his last 17 last year for Kansas, and the Jayhawks at that point went 14-2. Right now they've seen some of the lead drop a bit, but they still have, the Jayhawks do, an 11-point lead. With an 11-point lead. I was ready to say make it 9. That Vandiver shot looked like it was going to fall. Here's Berry the other way. Scooter Berry dishes outside. Lincoln Minor pulls up short. Bounce pass, good idea, but last touched apparently by either Minor or Randall. So the 11-point lead remains. Team fouls, 3 each.
Well, you can see Coach Williams over there. He wasn't telling them to slow down. He was telling them to stay under control. This is a game that they can't let get out of hand.
Down the right side comes Morton. Looking for Molas. Finding him now. Molas a jumper. Off the rim. Picked up underneath by Maddox. Good job to clear the boards up for Minor. Lead pass. Geldner has Randall with him. Underneath. And it doesn't go on the roll for Geldner. And now it's Morton coming back the other way. Jayhawks had a chance to bring it back up to 13. It stays at 11. Underneath pass. Geldner strips the ball away. Up for Scooter Berry. And the drive against Robinson. What a bucket for Scooter Berry. That's determination when you can hear the footsteps behind you.
Well, you got to give Jeff Geldner credit for creating the steal. Scooter made a great play. He knew Robinson was there. He knew he was coming for the block. Took it up and scooped it underneath him.
60-47. Jayhawks with a 13-point lead. Jayhawks rank number 17 in the latest Associated Press poll. Underneath Molas, denied, rebound denied. Lincoln Minor, tough defense in the rebound. Coming back for Kansas, good bounce pass for Berry. Underneath Geldner with a layup. 4 points for Geldner, a 62-47 lead. Colorado wanting to call a timeout and talk things over, and I don't blame them. They had a 9-point deficit, almost cut it down to 9, and then saw it go back up to 15 points. 62-47, Kansas leads.
9-9 and 6-12. Bring your ticket stuff down here.
Kansas has brought the lead back up to 15, thanks in part to Scooter Berry and his driving ability.
Well, Kansas is back doing what they do best, and that's running up the floor. Scooter did a great job at keeping control of his body and not getting that shot blocked. Here again, you see Lincoln having a great feed to him. Scooter gets the ball, gives it to Jeff Geldner. That's a great 3-on-2 fast break.
Back in the live action now. Vaughn to the outside. Guest now to Robinson. Robinson red hot tonight. 19 points. But so far, he hasn't missed a shot. They got to get him that ball more, one would think. Underneath, a whistle and a foul. And is it Minor? That's 4 on Lincoln. And he's grimacing, and he knows why. One more, and he's out. That's 4.
Well, Colorado needs to do this more often. Here they get the ball inside. Rodell Guest had a chance to go up in the lane and shoot it, but he dished it off to Molas, who took it up strong, got fouled.
Molas at the line. First one will go with the roll. And for Molas, he has a total of 8 points. I'll tell you what, he's been averaging 1.9 this year, so that's a very good performance for him off the bench. Minor will get a breather. Randall is on the bench. Scooter Berry's on the bench. Kevin Pritchard is on there.
Well, Colorado needs a big game from Molas. Wise hasn't been able to get off to a good start. He's had a bad game so far, and they're going to need somebody like Molas. Colorado's doing well when they can get the ball down against KU's set defense and run their plays a little bit and keep the tempo under control. Kansas has done its best when they can run the ball up the floor.
Now it's Pritchard to Maddox. Some full court pressure exhibited by the Buffaloes. Freeman West to Maddox. Milt Newton back into the lineup. He's out there with Maddox and Geldner, Freeman West and Kevin Pritchard. Now it's Maddox. Outside Freeman West. Shot clock reads 24. 49 points for Colorado, but Kansas on top with 62. 13-point Jayhawk lead. Newton. Milt with 7 points, but 3 personal fouls. Down low to Maddox. He's double teamed outside Geldner. He can hit that 3-pointer. Maddox in close misses, rebounded and picked off Brian Robinson on the drive. Bounce pass, Penix. Shot from the outside, no good. They try to jam it with Robinson on the rebound and just saving it, no. I'm going to say he brought it over the line. I thought his foot was on the line. I didn't know about the ball, but
I thought Rodell Guest was going to bring down the backboard. You see Colorado running. They don't do it very often. Rodell Guest, it's a great rebounder. He can really get up. There he went over the line, stepped on it. He did his best to keep over, but just got a couple inches too far.
Good call by the official. He had a good view of it. right on that diagonal line. Freeman West with the ball, 62-49, Jayhawks with the lead. Jayhawks back home, and they'll be glad of that on Wednesday against Wichita State. Good season the Shockers are having, although the last couple of games they've had some setbacks and lost a big home court streak. Rebound, Freeman West bucket.
Well, if Colorado's going to get back in this game, they're going to have to stop KU on their defensive end. They really, that's where they're going to have to start the game all over. They haven't been able to stop KU the last few possessions, and they can't get back in the game if KU continues to score. Reggie
Morton to Penix. I'm wondering if Wise is injured or not feeling well. We've not seen him for a while, and we talked at the beginning about the inside-outside game, and they've not really had any outside shooting in this one. And Wise is the guy that can do it. Underneath, acrobatics by Guest to Robinson, but a foul before it all took place.
Oh, you see Brian Robinson, he beat Freeman West underneath. I think he got away with going out of bounds there. His foot stepped on the line. Made a great pass to Rodell Guest. Kansas doesn't normally get beat baseline. They're a good, sound fundamental defensive team, and that's one area they don't want to get beat.
At the free throw line, making it count, is Rodell Guest. It's only his first point of the night. I want to welcome the sponsors of Kansas Jayhawk basketball, Allstate joining us, and Braniff Airlines. Second one is good. Rodell Guest now has a couple of points. Kansas leading it 64-51. We hope you're enjoying this one on the Jayhawks television network and also on the Prime Sports Network here in the Denver, Colorado area. Maddox with the ball, right side to Berry. Now to Freeman West, under to Pritchard. Pritchard, no points in this half. He had 11 in the first half.
Kansas has gone to an open post offense now. This is their passing game. They run this to run time off the clock, try and get a good layup.
Pritchard just got stripped of it at the last moment. Here's a break for Morton. Behind his back, looking for some help. Pritchard there defending. Skip pass across to Molis. Down low, Vandiver, double team, and a foul. Do they count it? No. But a foul underneath.
Vandiver is such a strong player inside. He's got such a big body. He held Maddox off well. You can't get around that body like that. Got to have good help side defense. Freeman was just a little bit late getting there.
That's the 6th team foul. 3rd personal on Maddox.
Vandiver and Wilkie are a lot alike. Both of them are big guys inside. And, with Scott Wilkie, it took you a day to get around him in the post. And it's tough to guard players like that, especially with Maddox's size.
Vandiver just a sophomore, so you know he's going to get better. Far side, Vaughn. Tom Miller's Colorado team played last year the toughest schedule in the nation. Molis hits for 3. Let's see if that can bring them back into it. A bucket like that is a big one. It cuts the lead down to 10. It was 15 a few minutes ago.
Well, he was 3 for 19 from the three-point line so far this season up to that point. That is a big bucket.
Berry. Against him is Molis. There's Milton Newton. A soft one off the glass and in for Milton Newton. Give him 9 points.
Well, every time you see Kansas start to get struggle a little bit, you see the seniors come forward. Milton Newton with a good jumper there. Scooter Berry earlier with a couple driving layups.
Vandiver, no chance. Gives it to the outside. Robinson holding it. Vaughn, top of the key, and he hits it. Brent Vaughn for a couple of points, give him 4. But they're finding the range right now, the Buffaloes are. So Kansas needs to keep counting with buckets. Outside, Newton, 3 points. Doesn't go for Milton Newton. And now it's Vandiver up for Morton. 66-56. A Jayhawk lead by 10. Reggie Morton. Outside. Vaughn driving in. Plays it out. Molis, that's another 3, and that's no good. Vandiver, big rebound. Put it up, and it was blocked by Maddox. And it went out of play. Good defense by Maddox. He had to get up high to stop that Vandiver shot. Maddox gets a breather. Randall comes in.
Kansas has given up a lot of three-point attempts this year because of their scrambling defense. A lot of times when you shoot, when the shots are coming from the outside, you're going to have long rebounds, tough to rebound.
And they've got the new shot clock to work with. Here's the drive in the lane. Looked like it was going to go for Morton, but it doesn't. And a foul underneath. And that's Milton Newton. He's got 4. He's in trouble.
Well, Kevin got beat early. Milt was caught. You couldn't see it early in the play, but Milt was caught looking away. He didn't see where the ball was. At the last second, he saw the man driving to the basket. He tried to get over, and he wasn't in time. But that was a situation where Milt just needed to let him go. He had 3 fouls. There wasn't anything he could do. Now he's going to the bench with 4 fouls.
Jeff Geldner will be in for Newton. So Roy Williams doesn't want to roll the dice here. He can always come back with Milt Newton at crunch time when they may need him.
Yeah, I don't expect you'll see Milton until about 4 or 5 minutes left in the game unless Colorado makes a big run at him. He's got to keep him in for late in the game.
Well, right now, Colorado is only 9 points away. Almost 8. Lead stays at 9 for Kansas. Kevin Pritchard will take it up the floor. Now to Freeman West. Scooter Berry lobbing it for Randall. Dangerous pass, and Vandiver picked it off. Right side, it comes to Morton. To Molis. Molis underneath. Nice reverse layup. And the crowd is starting to feel something.
Well, that's 2 times Kansas has gotten beat baseline tonight. It's hurt them both times. One thing they don't want to do is let this crowd get back into it. All Colorado people can go crazy.
This is the noisiest the Buffalo fans have been tonight. Geldner, right side to Berry. Down low, West. In traffic, got it up there. Drew a foul on Vaughn. Foul is going to be on Brent Vaughn. That'll be his 2nd foul. Got time to mention the Kansas Lady Jayhawks lost today. We'll talk about that. We're going to see this again first.
See, Scooter, he gave up the baseline. He couldn't get any help side defense. Geldner, he backed up. He knew there wasn't anything he could do. You don't usually want to draw a charge underneath the basket. They usually call a foul on there.
West will hit it. I want to say that the Lady Jayhawks lost their game today to the 20th ranked Colorado women's team, 73-54. They'll return to the Allen Fieldhouse Thursday to play Oklahoma State at 7 p.m. Lisa Brady led the Lady Jayhawks. She had 14 points. KU now 9-7 overall and 1-3 in the Big 8. That game preceded this one. Freeman West with 2 very important free throws. 68-59, a 9-point Jayhawk lead. 8:48 to play. Second half here in Boulder, Colorado at the CU Event Center. Becker outside. Morton. They work it around to Molis. Outside to Morton. No room there. Molis for 3 more, and he hits it. He has 15 points, and a few of those from 3-point range. And as you mentioned before, Chris, he was only 3 of 19 coming in. Something about confidence when you hit him, huh?
Yeah, when you hit a couple shots, you're going to get your confidence. He caught that, didn't even think about it, took it straight up. And especially when you hit your shot, it's in the rhythm.
Kevin Pritchard's first 3 points. He now has 1,000 in a Jayhawk uniform. But that one brought the crowd back to their seats. Vandiver. Jumper is no good. Rebound, fought for, and Pritchard will take it. Pritchard had that 3-pointer that hit nothing but net. And that's his first points of the second half. Underneath Randall, got by Vandiver. They're going to count it. They're going to count it. And then I believe they're going to call Randall with the offensive foul. Count the bucket and then the offensive foul.
Great pass by Jeff Geldner. Vandiver got caught going for the steal. Molis stepped in and took a charge. That's a hard call. You usually don't get that call when you're a defensive player if the man's already underneath the basket.
Well, this is going to be nostalgic maybe in a few years, so we're going to take another look at Kevin Pritchard's 1,000th point. But remember, it came from afar.
Well, that's a great tribute to Kevin Pritchard. There's been a lot of players at Kansas, and he's the 25th player now, I think it is, 24th or 25th to score 1,000. A lot of tradition at the University of Kansas.
Molis had a 1-and-1. They're in the bonus situation. You know, Molis has 16 points, and 11 of them have come in the second half. That was an expensive basket for Mark Randall because that gave him 4 personal fouls. Molis will get it, and there's an official's timeout on the floor. All of a sudden, that lead has been lowered. It's a 73-64 Jayhawk lead. Welcome back, everyone. And even though Kansas has a 9-point lead, there's a lot of time left in this one. And the biggest concern is that Milt Newton has 4 fouls. Mark Randall has 4 fouls. Lincoln Minor has 3 fouls. And Sean Alvarado has a stress fracture, and that's why he hasn't played at all tonight.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see Sean Alvarado. The team on the floor right now for Kansas is going to have to do the job for him for the next 4 minutes.
Kevin Pritchard bringing it up the court. A 9-point Jayhawks lead. Scooter Berry with it. Geldner, 6'5" junior. Underneath, no good by Maddox. A rebound and a good effort made by Molis, but the Jayhawks will get the ball. And I think that Tom Miller may have found a player here in that Molis has a career high 19 points. Of course, he's only a sophomore, but he was the best three-point shooter on this team last year until Wise took over. West, and they have a new shot clock. Barry with it. Again, we're just speculating whether Wise may have been injured. We have not seen him at all in this half. Granted, he was not having a very strong night, to say the least. In fact, he had no points. But we don't know if there's been an injury or a sickness or anything like that.
Well, he's sitting at the front of the bench. I don't know if Coach Miller is trying to make a point to him or if he's actually hurt. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with him. But Coach Miller is the type of guy that if he doesn't like the way you're playing, he's going to make you sit and think about it.
Maddox. Now it's Geldner. Shot clock down to 8 seconds. Pritchard spots it, drives the lane, pulls up. West coming in. Good poise, and West will hit it. He knew how much time was left. Freeman West with 14 points on the night.
Well, Kansas is showing a lot of poise tonight. Colorado is traditionally a tough place for KU to play. They've lost 19 here, and actually they lost 24 and only won 19. So Colorado holds the advantage at Colorado.
On the drive, yes, they're going to call a foul underneath on Maddox. Well, get your calculators going, folks. That's 4 on Maddox as well.
So Brian Robinson's having a great game. He's taking the ball to the hole. He's shooting it from the outside, shooting it from the inside. Maddox got caught out of position. That was a close call. That's one of those calls that go either way. Unfortunately for Mike and for Kansas, that's gone against Kansas. It's gone against them most of the night.
That looked like a small car crash, didn't it?
Yeah.
As the shot was taken and made by Robinson. I don't think he's missed yet. Field goals or free throw. He'll go back at the line. We mentioned before the size, 6'5", 225, and he was going forward, so he just crashed into Maddox. Here's Mr. Rebound, Freeman West.
When Robinson hits somebody, he's going to move him.
Yeah, that would be the first shot, so we jinxed him, I guess. Accidentally, but it happened. Here's Geldner driving the lane, dishes off Maddox. Great block underneath by Vandiver, and Geldner with a rebound is no good. Maddox, great fight for it. Almost upended someone on the Kansas Spirit squad. Boy, tough action, though, underneath the basket. Both teams fighting hard.
Well, Mike's had a rough go of it the last 2 times. He missed a short jumper last time. Vandiver played great defense against him there. Went up and blocked the shot. Kansas is going to go to the 1-3-1 half-court trap now. They like to do this 2 or 3 times a game.
Almost got that ball. 10 points. Here's Molis. 10 points is the lead for Kansas. 5:53 to go in the game. And the Jayhawks with 2 outstanding players on the bench in foul trouble. And Newton and Randall. Ball almost stolen. Now it is Maddox. Great job to Pritchard. Coming back is Morton. Pritchard, great drive on the roll. He got it. Kevin Pritchard, a big bucket on the finger roll.
Well, when Kevin wants to score, he can score
about as well as anyone.
Against anybody. He's a great player.
In the corner, Morton misses it. Taken away. They're going to say held ball. The alternate possession, though, shows that it belongs to Colorado. And how about this? Roy Williams. Is he rolling the dice a little bit here with Randall and Newton coming in?
Well, he's up by 12 right now, and he's got a chance to get back in the air. He feels like Colorado's getting a little bit of momentum, so he's going to put his players in that he thinks can control the game. Actually, Kansas, they've got a lot of players. They all play over 16, 17 minutes, so he's confident in all their abilities.
Turnaround, Vandiver, no good. And there's a Milt Newton rebound, so he's helped them already. Kevin Pritchard on the drive. Nowhere to go. Maddox down low. Randall, good turnaround. Mark Randall, a big bucket. 17 Mark Randall points. So he's up to his average. On a steal, Kevin Pritchard diving. Passing it out for Barry, and they couldn't make it. Put that one on the highlight film, even though they get no points on that one. The other way for Morton. On the dish, deflected. Barry saves it. Pritchard, can he get it? Couldn't get it. I'll tell you what. I'd take the last 30 seconds of action. We didn't see a basket, but that's great college basketball. Look at Roy Williams.
Yeah, the whole bench, they're happy. He's happy. Kansas is hustling, playing as hard as they can, and it's not easy to play hard at Colorado in the last few minutes of the game. The altitude here for these guys, they take their legs away, take their wind away, so they're giving everything they've got. And Coach Williams is happy with the effort.
That is great effort. on Kevin Pritchard's part, and not to travel with the ball as well. Sometimes you get caught in a situation like that where you move that pivot foot.
Oh yeah, he's lucky he didn't get a traveling violation called against him. Anytime you go on the floor, if you roll, you move or anything, they're usually going to call travel against you, but I think they're pretty happy with Kevin's efforts, so they didn't want to call traveling against him, ruin it.
Well, they've gone up by 14, Kansas has. Here's Penix to Vandiver. Vandiver was the big story before the game, but during the game it's been Brian Robinson, and underneath Vaughn misses, and actually Molis has been a big story here in the second half. Foul on Scooter Berry. Slapped him with a hand apparently, and for Scooter that's 3 fouls.
Well, Kansas was really lucky. Mark Randall didn't pick up his 5th foul when he stopped Brent Vaughn's penetration. Actually, they could have called him for a blocking foul, but they let it go.
There's Rick Barry watching. Now an NBA broadcaster. And he's already in the Hall of Fame. His game is so totally different, isn't it, from his son's? Rick was all finesse, and I think the game looked easier for Rick Barry.
Well, Scooter, he's got a lot of talent, but his main role on this team is just to pass the ball, get a good assist to the team, and play good defense. He's really not a big scorer.
1 for 2 was Becker, and the ball is lost out of bounds. Kansas will put it in play. Jayhawks with a 79-66 lead. They'll be returning home next week, Wednesday, to face Wichita State at the Allen Fieldhouse. And you know the players will be very glad to get back home. A tough job for Colorado. They're on the road against Oklahoma.
Yeah, things don't look any better for Colorado, but you got to like the way they're playing. They've lost 5 in a row, and they're still out here playing hard, down by 13. They could give up a long time ago, but they haven't.
They've got some good young players, and Vandiver, as we've said all during the telecast, just a sophomore. But they do play a very tough schedule. This year, not as tough as last year when they were ranked as having the toughest schedule in the nation. Here's Milt Newton on the outside of Maddox. Shot clock reading 15. Lincoln Minor on the drive to Maddox to the outside. Humps it out to Berry. Now to Randall. Nowhere to go with it. Now to Berry. Shot clock down to 6 seconds. Scooter sees it. Goes in on the drive. 4 seconds. Knows it's got to go up. Pushes it up, and Scooter Berry with a big one. There was literally a split second, no more, left on that.
Well, we said he wasn't quite as good as his dad, and he just showed a great move there. Scooter can score when he wants to.
Berry diving for the loose ball. 4 players on the hell ball. This one will go to Kansas. This one goes to the Jayhawks. So second effort and third effort that time. Payoff for Kansas. And they have their 15-point lead once more, 81-66. Timeout on the floor right now. And both teams will have a chance to prepare for the final. 3 minutes and 24 seconds, but a big surge here by the Jayhawks. Again, they lead by 15. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Jayhawks on top, 81-66. Great game up to this point for Mark Randall with 17 points. We talked about the inside-outside game during your comments, Chris, in the pregame. And even though Milt Newton, because of foul trouble, even though Milt Newton hasn't been able to get the points because of the foul trouble, they've gotten points from the outside. Kevin Pritchard with 16.
Yeah, Kevin's taken up the slack, and you need that in a good veteran team like this. Kevin, he showed that he can play, and he showed that he can play in pressure situations, and Kansas has needed him.
And he's going to get better and better. He's got another year to go here. Randall making the relatives feel proud of him tonight. Here's Pritchard on the outside.
I call Kansas a veteran team. They're a young team, but they're playing like they're veterans. This is a good road trip for them.
The ball goes back the other way. Actually, we talk about veterans. Let's watch Randall first.
Well, Mark got pushed out of bounds by Vandiver. They didn't catch it. That's all right, though. They're still up by 15. They got 3 minutes to go. All they need to do now is keep the clock going.
I say, last year, Milt Newton had 27 starts, but the rest of the team combined had only 19. So even though they've got some seniors, as Vandiver hits, they've got some seniors on this club, but a lot of them didn't start. Scooter Berry had only 3 starts last year.
Well, you got 6 guys out on this floor tonight that played in the national championship game. That's going to give you some experience real quick.
And confidence. Milt Newton, confidence plus. He has 11 points on the night. They just won't let Colorado get back in. 2.5 to play in the game. 83-68. 15-point lead. 3 points, no good. That was well out of the range for Becker. Vandiver battling for it. And they're going to call a hell ball. This time it goes the other way. Sometimes, you can go an entire game. I think we just did one recently where there was not a single alternate possession because of a held ball. In this one, you've had like 3 or 4 consecutive.
Well, these teams are playing hard. They're playing tough basketball, physical basketball, and they're scrapping all over the floor, and you're going to get a lot of held balls in situations like that.
There's Roy Williams.
You know, even with Colorado losing 5 games and having a down year, they're still out scrapping. They're playing hard. That shows that they're going to be good in a couple years.
Big Vandiver rebound and a nice move all in one motion. 14 points for Vandiver and a timeout. 83-70. The lead is 13, and Colorado will have 2 minutes and 10 seconds left for this stretch drive. So it's now or never for Colorado, and we'll show it to you when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to the final 2 minutes and 10 seconds of this one as Kansas and a game Colorado team, and the lead right now is 13 for Kansas. Passed into Randall and a touch by Vaughn. Jayhawks will put it back in play. Maddox from underneath the basket has the big arms of Vandiver defending against him, and there was a whistle away from the ball. Let's see. It was Morton? I believe it was Morton.
Yeah, I think he got called for holding Kevin Pritchard.
Got to be careful in these situations. I guess before you could always grab somebody. Now you're afraid of the intentional foul and having it really cost you.
Well, Colorado's only has 5 team fouls. They got one more to give, and then the next one's going to be in a bonus situation. They want to get these fouls over with quick without any time going off the clock. That way they can stick Kansas on the line.
It's Kevin Pritchard. An 83-70 lead, 13 points for the Jayhawks. Randall, and a foul is going to be called on Brian Robinson. He has 4 personal fouls, and now Vandiver and Randall are upset at each other. Barry gets in the way. Temper's a little short here at the end of the game. Let's watch again, see if we can pick it up.
Well, I was surprised Colorado let 8 seconds go off the clock before they fouled.
A little serious talking. What are you going to do after the game? I don't know. What are you going to do after the game? I don't think that was it. I don't think that's what they were saying.
I don't know what Vandiver's problem was. I think Mark was just talking to Robinson, but tempers are flare when you're down by 13. He lost 5 in a row.
Pritchard now to Randall, and there's Vandiver all over him. Off a deflection. Here's Morton. Big turnover. Stops, pops for 3, and it doesn't get the roll. That could have been a big basket. Would have cut the lead down to 10. And Barry is fouled by Vandiver, and I think Vandiver's losing a little bit of his composure here.
Well, Coach Williams is a little upset with Mark. He wants him to get strong with the ball. This is a good situation for Kansas. They need to practice against a situation like this where they need to get the ball up the floor against a good press.
The 34, Freeman West replacing Maddox.
There's Barry, and he is fouled by Vandiver. Freeman West is back in. I think he has had a magnificent game.
Yeah, Freeman has played great. He's got 6 rebounds on the night.
14 points.
14 points. Has really come in well and filled in for Sean Alvarado.
And no foul trouble. He only has the 1 foul. Barry makes it count on the free throw.
That's really unusual for a player like Freeman West, who's all over the boards. He's a physical player to only get away with 1 foul.
Scooter Barry, 6'4", 175-pound senior from Oakland, California. He makes 2 of them in the clutch. And at this point, Kansas continues to keep Colorado away from closing that gap. Here's Morton. Robinson, confident for 3, but way off. And now it's Freeman West. That's not the kind of shot that Tom Miller would have liked to see there. Newton, Barry. Roy Williams calling for 4, and he's fouled by Molis. And was Roy a little bit upset because they weren't working the ball around? He didn't want him to foul?
Well, he wanted Kansas to go into an open post offense where their passing game, they swing the ball all around the floor, keep the ball moving. Kansas wasn't ready for it. Scooter picked up his dribble, which normally you don't want your point guard to do, and they were able to foul him.
Scooter Barry with 10 points. 3 points better than his average. Misses there, and Vandiver with a rebound to Morton. A 15-point lead. Colorado with 1:18 as they trail. Morton.
Kansas just wants to keep the clock going right now. They don't want to foul and stop the ball.
Oh, some crazy 3-point attempts here. Just being thrown up there by Colorado. And now the ball goes back to Kansas. Barry, and there's a Molis foul right away. Right on top of Scooter Barry. 2nd consecutive foul on Molis.
That was number 14, Brian.
Well, looks like the Jayhawks with 1:09 to go should salvage at least a split on the road. And although every coach will tell you they want to win every game that they can, in any sport, if you're going to go on the road for 4, for 6, for 8, if you can get a split, you've got to be pretty happy with that.
Well, I think Kansas can look back at this game and really point to it as a good confidence builder. They went down to Oklahoma just last Wednesday and got blown out. So to be able to come back to Colorado and a place that KU traditionally doesn't play very well and win by 15 or whatever the final margin is going to be, it's a big confidence booster, especially for this young team.
Bill Markham is in. David Kuzman is in for the first time tonight. Jeff Penix making his second appearance. Rodell Guest is in as well. And staying out there is Brent Vaughn. Scooter Berry 4 from 6 from the line, making 5 of 7 for Scooter and give him 11 points on the night.
Well, Colorado's clearing their bench. Unfortunately for Kansas, they don't have anybody to clear off their bench. They only got 3 players, I think, that are playing tonight off the bench. So Kansas is going to have to stick with the regulars.
Scooter Berry makes it 12, and now Mike Mannix comes into the game. And Randall will get a breather, and what a game Mark Randall has had. 17 points. And he got some of those while his team was in foul trouble. Coming back the other way. 1:05 to go. 87-70, a 17-point Kansas lead from the corner. 3-pointer, no good by Vaughn. Rebounded underneath by Pritchard. Less than a minute to go. In fact, 55 seconds. Pritchard on the lob. West underneath. Maddox doesn't get the roll for him and rebounded the other way. Colorado Buffaloes with Rodell Guest stopping, popping, and hitting. He has 4 points on the night. 40 seconds left. 87-72. And Lincoln Minor is going to be coming into the game, but not just yet. Colorado has called a timeout. So with a 15-point Jayhawk lead and 40 seconds left, Colorado is going to talk things over, announcing the attendance tonight at better than 7,172. And it was a noisy crowd tonight, and they really got themselves into the spirit of things, especially when Colorado narrowed the gap to 9 points and even 6 at one point. But in the latter stages of the game, Kansas just wouldn't let Colorado back in.
Well, Colorado made a couple good runs at Kansas, and Kansas was able to hold their poise. Their seniors came through for them, Milt Newton, Scooter Berry, and Mark Randall had a terrific game tonight. And it was a big game for Mark Randall. He struggled on the road the last 3 games, and he really needed something like this to boost his confidence, especially in front of his home crowd.
And speaking of Mark Randall, how about him for our Coors Light Player of the Game? He has had a brilliant game tonight with 17 points. There's Roy Williams, and he's got to be pretty pleased with the efforts of his club, especially in the face of all of the foul trouble. So now we look at Mark Randall as our Coors Light Player of the Game. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 1 for 3 from the line, but some big buckets, especially when other players on the team were in foul trouble. Milt Newton passing it up. 34 seconds left in the game to Pritchard. Now to Lincoln Minor. 87-72 and a foul on Rodell Guest. That's just his first foul. So congratulations to Mark Randall as our Coors Light Player of the Game. And what a game to play for him with all of his relatives, as we mentioned here. He came from Englewood, Colorado, highly recruited. Obviously, they wanted him here in Colorado as well as several other places. And you just think what he may be like when he's a senior with all of his skill as a sophomore. And Lincoln Minor.
Well, the one thing about Mark Randall is they always knew he had great physical talent and was a great basketball player. They're worried about his confidence level. And Roy Williams done a great job building his confidence up and just praising him on everything he does. And it's really turned out well for Kansas.
Give Lincoln Minor 9 points, and 28 seconds are all that's left in the game. And off of a deflection, Kansas will get the ball. 89-72, Jayhawks with a lead. Stolen away on a slap. Penix for 3, and that's no good. Rebound jam for Rodell Guest. The rim took a beating on that. Kansas will put the ball in play with 19 seconds left. 89-74, a 15-point lead. And one of the souvenir balls that was thrown in the stands has been thrown back out. That's the reason for that last whistle.
They're trying to make a 3-point from the stands.
Who would you give the bucket to?
Colorado is going to be they're going to be a good team down the line. Rodell Guest, a sophomore, Vandiver, a sophomore, Reggie Morton, a junior, Steve Wise, a sophomore. They got a lot of good young players, and this is a program that's going to keep rising.
Lincoln Minor with it to Pritchard. Down to 6 seconds left. Kevin Pritchard, an 89-74 lead, and now victory for the Kansas Jayhawks. 89-74 over a game Colorado squad. as Roy Williams and Tom Miller shake hands, and members of the Spirit squad are very happy with this result tonight. For the Jayhawks, a positive game, especially after what had taken place on Wednesday night when literally in the second half they had their doors blown away by a very strong Oklahoma team.
Well, we talked about earlier how important it was for Kansas to win this game. Anytime you go on the road in the Big 8, each game that you can win is looked at as basically a gift, because games on the road in the Big 8 are tough. Kansas is now 3-1 in the Big 8, and 2 of those wins have come on the road, so they're sitting pretty good.
Let's go back to some of the things that you talked about in our pregame show. And go back to that. We talked about the inside-outside game for Kansas as having to get that to be effective. They were. Colorado was not. They had nothing from the outside till Molas hit 3-pointers in the second half.
Well, that's true. Wise didn't come through for Colorado like he had in the past. It's so important to get an inside-outside game going. With Randall scoring inside, Colorado couldn't put pressure on or sag their defense down around him. Or actually, they couldn't pressure on the outside and open up the inside for Randall. And with Kevin Pritchard scoring on the outside, Colorado also couldn't just sag in. So you need an outside game like Kansas had, and it worked out well for them.
Well, the Jayhawks will be back in action Wednesday against Wichita State. It'll be great for them to get back home.
Yeah, they're really going to look forward to getting back home. And to play on the road for 4 straight games, to go home, it's great. Your crowd's pumped up, and Wichita State's always a huge game for Kansas.
89-74. The Jayhawks with a win tonight, and some of the big players. Mark Rendell had 17 points. Freeman West, 14 points on the night. Scooter Berry ended up with 12 points. It was a big night for the Kansas Jayhawks. And then you got to go back to and think about all the foul trouble that the Jayhawks got themselves involved in, and they still were able to manage to get away with it. Freeman West with some big rebounds off the boards. And how about the congratulations to Kevin Pritchard, 1,000 points in the Jayhawk uniform. He hit it in the second half.
Yeah, that was a big bucket for Kevin to get started there, and it was 1,000 points. That's a great tribute to him, and he's been playing here for 2.5 years now, and he's done well. He's played well. He's scored the ball, and not many players at Kansas get to score 1,000 points.
We'd like to thank the athletic directors of both schools and sports information directors for all of their help. Our thanks to our producer Jim Roller, director Gary Clem. For Chris Piper, I'm John Paul Della Camera. 89-74 is the final score. The Kansas Jayhawks led by 15 at the half, and that ends up as their winning margin. As they win the game in Boulder, Colorado, they go to a record of 15 wins and 3 losses. They are 3-1 in the conference.